Look guys, TMD back in the building. Bit of a serious topic today guys. Got a few things I want to talk about. And big shout going out to Nick. Nick is one of my big fans. What's up Nick? TY, Icebox, all the guys. Suicides in Japan. Very odd situation to be in this country. Going to give you a few stories that I've experienced here. And the first story is that I was working at a school, a private school, and this school had maybe about 4 or 5 levels, and in the middle was like I don't know how to say it. It was like the ground floor is, if you can imagine, like a prison, right? You've got all the rooms, cells on the outside, and in the middle it's just like the ground floor. Now this particular school had these nets that were made out of rope that were covering or protecting people below. Now I thought it was actually to stop people from jumping off, right? It wasn't. It was to stop books or pens or bags or any objects that were potentially dangerous to people walking on the bottom floor. Now these nets actually don't really do anything. It's a nice garden, don't they? Beautiful garden. See? Beautiful day. So these nets they won't stop a human, they won't protect them, they won't break their fall, so to speak. And my initial thoughts were that was the main purpose. So what happened was, I was working in the staff room and the staff room wasn't that busy. I think most of the teachers were working at that time. And I'm working away and I heard some commotion, and one of these teachers had come running into the staff room, said something in Japanese, and basically it was like a fire drill, almost like in a fire station. All the teachers in the staff room that were there basically ran out of the staff room, and I knew something bad was happening, because it was like a panic situation. So all the teachers had run out, and what happened was, there was a boy, a student, I think he was in grade 3, was trying to basically jump out the top floor window, which was obviously rather worrying, to say the least. And this poor boy apparently was having some mental health issues, and what happened was he tried to he was basically dangling or sitting outside the top floor window, which is rather fucking high. So if he did jump, he'd obviously be dead or be seriously injured to the point of being probably paralyzed or something horrible like that. So I was like, fuck man, that was a really weird situation for me. Never happened to me before, where a student has tried to kill themselves while I'm at work. And what happened was, all the teachers ran up as fast as they could up 4 flights of stairs and managed to save this kid. About 30 minutes later, I think the school counsellor that we have at our school then was walking with him to like the counselling room. And this kid, I'll never forget this, man. This is one of the weirdest, maddest images that I can remember. This boy's face, he was white as a sheet, like just pale, and he was like staring, like, look at that. So see, some furniture there. I could do that table. He was just staring, like Private Pile in that scene where he's in the toilet before he shoots himself. It was just horrible. And obviously the kid never came back to that school. And I'll get into this a little bit more. The problems that they have in Japan with these high schools, or even junior high schools, is that the amount of pressure being put on these students is kind of crazy, because this was a private school, and I think this private school was, well, their aim was to basically these kids go to do like medical stuff, like doctors or whatever, something in the medical field. This guy's taking pictures of all the trees. He's a sashing. Some roses there. Alex's photos. Cool, man. So this happens quite a lot out here. Kids' suicide rates are fucked up, to say the least. Now, some of the schools that I've worked at in the past, I think it was 2 years ago, there were 2 girls. I think they were aged about 16, 17, and one girl in particular that actually, she liked me. I'd spoke to her quite a lot because she was excluded from the regular classes. She used to self-harm quite a lot, and she didn't like this particular teacher that I was working with. And to be honest, this particular teacher was a complete bitch, by the way, and I didn't like her. She was really rude and abrupt and just had no care in the world. She couldn't manage her class. Her class was actually the worst class that I've ever taught in Japan. But I kind of wasn't blaming the kids at all. It was just bad management, bad homeroom teaching. And this girl, she used to like escape out of the school. And again, this was a big school. So once she escaped, the teachers used to run around looking for her. Couldn't find her, 'cause it's such a big school. Most of the time she was I'll walk down this way for a change. Most of the time she was actually on top of the school roof, which, you know, is not not the safest place to be, because it's high, it's on top of a roof, and you put two and two together, the possible outcome is that she's gonna jump. So this happened quite regularly. I've met students that have had mental problems, they've had problems at home. The amount of study and pressure these kids have is quite phenomenal. So bullying is another issue that goes on in Japanese schools, what really doesn't get addressed. There are a few cases on Vice, the YouTube channel. Quite sad, really. A lot of Japanese kids have been murdered by fellow classmates. You know, and it gets to that point where they commit suicide. I mean, this happens all over the world, I know. But it's more so in Japan. Now, these murders that happen, that as in like fellow classmates killing their friends, the juvenile cases are pretty mad, because those kids that are murderers, teenagers, they basically get off scot-free. I mean, they do a bit of time, but it's not like an adult prisoner. You know, they're in there for quite a long time, or even they might even face the death penalty, I don't know. But yeah, it's really sad. Now, going on to a Conventions of a Gaijin point, there was a girl that I met once on New Year's Eve, and this girl, I kind of liked her. I wanted to get with her, and she had a boyfriend at the time, but her boyfriend was actually a police officer. I'm not going to say a name, but we were on Facebook and stuff like that, and we kept in contact, kind of thing. And I didn't see her for quite a while, and these beautiful trees. Autumn time is nice over here. Beautiful. And I didn't see her for a long time, and I know she was having some boyfriend problems. And then one night we met. She was kind of semi-drunk, and she was like flirting with me like crazy. She'd dumped her boyfriend at that point. Then I said, "Do you want to come back to my house for some drinks?" She said, "Yeah." I thought, "Hey, up, I'm in." Came back to my house, and I had a bottle of vodka, and we had a few drinks, got chatting, and then all of a sudden she started like breaking down, man. I was like, wow, this is mad. And she took off her top. It's like a cardigan or something, and to my amazement, she was actually a self-harmer. She had like cuts up her arm that were like just fucked up. Like, and to be honest, when I met her, for the first time. I never really knew that she was doing that kind of shit. And yeah, underneath her forearm she'd been cutting herself with razors. And I do see a few school kids over here with the same problem. Oh, Sensei! Hello! I'm making a video. You want to say hello? This is my old teacher friend. どうしたの？今、お仕事終わり？あ、そうなの。あー、OK。Bye bye. Yeah, that's my teacher, my daughter's sensei. She's a bit camera shy. So, yeah, man, it's really messed up over here. Now, the next story I'll talk about, and this is another one of my videos where I basically put a documentary within this video. And this is about Hikikomori. I can't even pronounce it. I always have problems pronouncing it. Hikikomori, I think that's what it's called. I know my subscribers will go, oh, you didn't pronounce it right. All that means are people that are very recluse. These are Japanese people that they can't go outside. They have like this Hikikomori, and they don't want to face with the outside world. And it's becoming quite a big problem in Japan. It's getting to the point now where a lot of young kids have this issue because they don't want to be in the school environment. So most of these kids are being taught at home. They have special online teaching, for example. And a lot of these kids don't want to be part of the school system. For adults, they don't want to be part of the general system. And these people basically live at home. They don't go out. And in this documentary you'll probably see the effects of it. Now, I can semi-relate to this myself because when I was off work and I was looking after my daughter, I was actually a stay-at-home dad. I was out of work. I was basically stuck indoors for 7 to 8 months. And when I decided to be a stay-at-home dad, after a while I fucking realized that I couldn't really assimilate to going on trains. Oh, look at these demonic dolls. This is very strange. Look at these dolls. Oh, that's a Japanese comedian. Oh, these are like Japanese celebrities. They're very nice. They're like little puppets. Handmade. Very interesting. Oh, there's Naomi Osaka. Nice. Interesting. So I was stuck indoors for that amount of time, and you know what, man, I had not panic attacks, but I didn't really like going outside. I felt so comfortable in my little apartment looking after May. I didn't really want to go outside, and sometimes I kind of feel the pressures and strains, and you know, it's like dealing with work stress as well is a big factor out here. A lot of people don't want to work because of the working environment is so messed up. harassment, bullying, a bit like these kids who don't want to go to school. These people are basically black flagged, black sheep in Japanese society, because this is a society where you should work, you need to have a good job, you need to have this certain style of living. And sadly, the world, you know, social issues have caught up with Japan, because this is no bullshit no more. These cases are happening left, right and center. People don't want to be going through that stress, right? I don't know what it's like out in the West, but it's fucking nuts. Oh, and a story has just come back to me, actually. This is a story that I saw on the news, and what it was, I think it was a girl. She was aged, I think 11, something like that. They were at elementary school. Might be even younger, I don't know. And what happened was, this girl had gone to the train station with her friend, and she said to her friend, I want to die, I want to kill myself. Her friend's like, what the fuck? What happened was, the girl had actually asked the other chick if she'd die with her, as in jump on the train lines. And guessed it, they both fucking jumped, holding hands onto a train line. Now, when I came to Japan, there used to be quite a lot of suicides out here, a lot of delays when I worked in Tokyo. And how it works out here is, these people that do these suicide missions, is basically they choose the cheapest rail line to kill themselves, because what happens is that I think the parents or the next of kin have to pay out money for that. And if these people want to, like, you know, do themselves in, if they choose one of the most expensive lines, which is out in the Yamanote line, they jump off, die, and cause massive, like, disruptions to the train network, because they have to call in the police, the train staff, doctors, fire people. They have to scrape all their body parts off the fucking train line, all that shit. I don't know what the law is. It's been a long time since I talked about this, but I think that's kind of how it works out, because JR are losing a lot of money. The trains are delayed. It's massive thing out here. And to go on another tangent, I haven't seen him for a long time. I think he's dead. There was a guy here that was in a wheelchair, and he had both of his legs fucking chopped off. And what happened was, I found this story out later, that he actually tried to jump off the train line, and the train fucking cut his legs off, and he still survived it. He lost both his legs. Another story is, my mate Rocco, who is back in Australia now, he witnessed the jumper and he said it was horrible. You know, he saw the body just like being, well, you can only imagine what happened. I don't know what it is out here. I mean, there's been a few celebrities this year that have committed suicide too also. Something that's part of Japanese culture, you know. It goes back to like the, is it called the sebuke? Dishonor, where samurai would basically disembowel themselves and kill themselves. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. I'll have to check. I think it's sebuki, because kubi means like cut neck. So seku, I can't remember the actual name. I'll have to find out. So yeah, man, it's really weird. I don't know how Japan fits into the world suicide rate. I think it's Finland that's #1. I think it's Finland. But I know Japan's kind of way up there. Now there are a few strange things connected to that, because out here it's kind of embarrassing to go to a psychiatrist. Like back home in the UK or the US, you know, people have mental health problems, and basically you go and seek help from a doctor or a psychiatrist. Out here it's not very common for people to do that. I don't know why they want to, I don't know why they don't want to do it, but they just end up doing themselves in. Now for any foreigners that are here, they do have English speaking psychiatrists. So any foreigners that watch my channel, or anybody, doesn't matter, they do have English speaking psychiatrists here. So don't worry, there's always somebody to talk to at the end of the line, so to speak. And I've had friends that were in the Samaritans and stuff like that back home in the UK. So don't think that you're alone. And if I do have any viewers that are going through some shit, because trust me guys, I've been going through my own shit. I felt semi-suicidal living here as well, and at that point I had nobody to talk to. That's why I started doing a lot of blogging to get my shit out. And I encourage anybody out there who's watching me, you know, it's a good form of stress release, is speaking and talking about stuff, you know. But if there's any viewers out there that need to PM me or chat to me about anything, just send me a message, man. You know, everybody goes through this probably at some point in their life. Life is like a roller coaster, and you have your ups, you have your downs, but don't let these things get to you. So I'm just thinking about what I should maybe talk about on my next video. I've got a good story about an American friend I don't talk to anymore. We kind of reached out to each other. His story was, again, another suicidal story, and his particular story is one of the most I would say messed up stories that I've heard over here. So I'm about to go to work, guys. Sorry I can't get like 2 videos out today. I've got my night lesson tonight. But just want to say a big thanks to everybody that's watching. And don't forget, guys, just press the like button. Give me ideas. I know Nick and TY and a few other guys have been responding quite a lot, so I'm going to love you and leave you.
While these caged birds perhaps dream of spreading their wings, Yusuke has no desire to join them. Instead, he avoids all contact with the world beyond the tiny room he's barely left in the last decade. He's a Hikikomori, the Japanese word for a person who seeks isolation and who never leaves home.
I need the sound of the TV, otherwise I don't feel well. The silence reminds me that I'm alone. I often stay in my futon the whole day and just stare at the ceiling.
Yusuke had a normal childhood, but at university he was bullied by one of his professors and other students. The trauma turned him against people in general. Since then, time has stood still. He's 32, but his room looks like it belongs to a teenager. He struggles to find the words to express himself, as if he's trying to find a sense of direction in life.
It is as if I forget everything, that nothing is clear-cut. All I know is that my body feels heavy. I'm afraid of the world. Even a phone call or an email stress me out.
A form of depression or other mental health problem, a social phobia or an act of rebellion. Whatever the diagnosis, Hikikomori people are united by an inability to comply with Japan's strict rules of social interaction. On the other side of the room, Yusuke's mother's preparing a meal for him. Most Hikikomori depend on their parents to survive. The parents are ashamed of their children, members of a lost generation in a society that places a premium on work.
I've stood outside his bedroom door many times and begged him to come out, to go to the park or the bird shop, because he likes birds. I don't know what to do. I've consulted doctors and been to seminars. All I can say is that it's hard, really hard. He's not interested in anything. I've tried to get him interested in things, but he doesn't want to go out. It's making me depressed too.
The Hikikomori phenomenon was identified in the late 1990s, when Japan's post-bubble economic troubles hit young people particularly hard. But today, the Hikikomori generation is not made up of a specific age group or people from a certain social background. Most of them are men, but an increasing number are women. The ability to order just about everything they need online means they never have to leave their rooms. Alice has lived a reclusive life for a total of 5 years.
I went through my first Hikikomori phase when I was young, but I managed to come out of it. Then I went to university, found a job and a boyfriend. I thought I'd been spared, and then finally I had a relapse. It's as if the lights have been turned off. I have no willpower, no desire to do anything. There is nothing inside anymore.
Alice ended up leaving her job and her husband. These days, though, she feels more comfortable talking to people. Others are not so fortunate. Every year, an estimated 30,000 reclusive people die alone in Japan. They're not suicides, but solitary, silent ends. This room was once home to a 68-year-old man.
Keep all the documents organized: social security slips, tax papers, bills, and bank cards.
Neighbours alerted the authorities after noticing the smell 2 months after his death. These are the belongings of a person who died alone. Several companies specialise in cleaning apartments once occupied by tenants who died alone.
His legs were here and his head there. He must have had a fall.
The mysterious life of the former occupant is slowly unravelling. After working as an accountant for 40 years, he, like an increasing number of Japanese, stopped communicating with the outside world after he retired.
Ratatouille, beans, ready meals. These are typical of the foods eaten by people who live alone. I go about my cleaning methodically and try not to think about the circumstances or delve too deeply into the life of the people whose places I'm cleaning. All the same, I can't avoid seeing their possessions, so I tell myself that I'm going to get married and not end up alone like them.
As Japanese society ages, so do the Hikikomori. The older they are, the lonelier they become. With no family or friends to look out for them, they simply fade from view, ignored by the rest of society.
If these people had more contact with their neighbours, we could have avoided these solitary deaths. People should pay more attention to others and try to build a real community spirit, with proper communication between neighbours.
The dead man did have someone, his niece, who's come to collect his possessions and pay the €4,000 cleaning bill.
Do you want to keep these documents?
Yes, I have already put aside all of the important ones.
I care. Then I called him and he didn't answer. But then I sometimes visit him or call or send a message. That's all. I cared. Yeah, I tried to him out, like let's go to dinner or something. I told him he didn't want to. He refused.
He was very lonely.
But he likes that way. He lives alone and he died alone.
The Hikikomori seem determined to hang on to their solitude, yet many dream of a different life. To address the problem, the Japanese government this year conducted its first nationwide study of Hikikomori aged over 40. Teppei Sekimizu, who's published a book on Hikikomori, says modern Japanese society is to blame.
Unlike European countries that value the importance of the individual, the Japanese emphasize common rules. In that sense, an individual's value is dependent on his ability to conform to the rules set by the group. The Hikikomori are people who are unable to do that, and as a result, they feel completely useless. They're ashamed. They are incapable of following the rules of society, and they suffer from feelings of guilt as a result.
Some non-governmental organisations offer job training to those who are willing to leave their rooms for a few hours.
This is how you create an Excel file.
This group teaches the basics: composing an invoice, emailing a senior colleague, speaking in public, or simply laughing and relaxing among other people.
I would like to ask a question, but I don't know how.
First, we ask them to come only twice a month, as initially the aim is just to persuade them to leave their homes. We start slowly. We don't have sessions every day. We can't ask too much of them.
Around 2 out of 3 participants lose interest, but the others go on to find jobs with companies working alongside the NGO. It took this man 3 years to recover.
Before I was incapable of speaking, but I'm not scared anymore. I can communicate with my colleagues and work as part of a team. I think that's what I really learned here, to collaborate and communicate. I can start my life again. I have more confidence now.
For him and others, normality means accepting society's conventions, but not its stress on conformity. Alice has been working at a startup for the past few months. Her employer knows about her past and allows her some freedom. Most importantly, she's no longer afraid of going out and meeting other people.
In the beginning, my eyes were so used to the darkness of my room that the sunlight was blinding. I couldn't bear it. I suffered with that for a long time.
Once a month, she goes to an editorial meeting of a magazine that's by and for the Hikikomori. Everyone working for the publication, which launched early this year, have spent time living in isolation. Today, though, they're eager to share their experiences.
In the beginning, it was a voyage of discovery. I finally felt comfortable with people, because here everybody has experienced a bit of what I lived through.
I don't like being in places where there are a lot of people. But here, we know each other and don't judge each other. We can behave how we like. We don't even have to sit down if we don't want to.
Having lived on the fringes of society, these men and women have overcome their sense of shame and now have an outlet for their personalities. Their monthly magazine, Hikiposu, is available online and in print and has several thousand readers. They include hikikomori and parents hoping to better understand what their children are going through.
For our next cover, we can choose a man or a woman, but the person should really have a personality. This young girl conveys the pain of living. She reflects an underground alternative culture. A lot of people have negative feelings towards hikikomori. They think we are spoilt or lazy. But we hope to change that misconception through this magazine.
This group of people have an even bigger ambition: to challenge society's obsession with productivity and competition.
Japanese people think that if someone doesn't work, then he or she is worthless. But by talking, by reflecting on the hikikomori phenomenon, we can show a different way of living. That's important.
None of them chose to live cut off from the rest of society, but today they're using their experience to find meaning in life. That offers hope to the estimated 500,000 hikikomori who have yet to find their way back into the outside world.
で、引きこもりの定義というのは6ヶ月以上自室にこもり他者とのコミュニケーションを断つっていうのが最低条件6ヶ月以上ということになってます。
最近本当にごく最近は夕方4時5時頃に起きて 12時間後ぐらいに寝る感じです。目が覚めても体を起こす元気がない。外に出ようと努力したことはあまりないですね。もうこの生まれた環境で血縁関係自体が牢屋で、ここが僕の一時期はひどかったんですけど、今はシェルターになってるかなと思います。切れない縁の中でなんとか自分の空間を保ってくれてるような。表情なんかね、エモートした時の顔が変わるんやったかな。なんか眉毛がしっくりこやんわ。引退やわ。スイッチいっぱいあったよ。はい、終わらしたいんだけどな。細いのがいいんやけどな。決まってなく、起きる時間も寝る時間も決まってなくて、起きてる時は食べるのとお風呂に入る以外は音楽を聴くかネットサーフィンとゲームぐらいですね。いや、家の中にいるのであまり関係がないですね。会話はちょっと、そうですね、家事頼まれたりとかご飯できたとか、そういう会話ぐらいですかね。ゴミは自分でゴミ袋に入れておくと、下の部屋に持っていくんですよ。
高度成長期に父親っていうのが会社に仕事に取られますね。アメリカでもそうですけど、会社に取られて父親の存在感がなくなっていく。それとお母さんがその取り残された不安感で必死になって受験教育ママっていう受験ママっていうのが流行してきた後なんですね。
一番最初は高校に行きたくないと言ったことからですかね。高校3年生の夏終わりかな、に私が仕事行こうと思った時に学校から帰ってきて学校に行きたくないと。
あるかなあったかな。四万高校の個人個人で撮った写真はあるんやけど、3年時遠足はないね。俺写ってんのあるのかな。俺休んでたから後で撮りに行ったんや。そのなんか合同の日は俺は休んでて、後で自分で休んでた人っていう日に撮りに行ったと思う。ボスザルみたいな。ボスザルね。生徒でいじめてきた生徒、やんちゃな子がようけいたからね、その不良がようけいたから、そういう子らはよくターゲットになってたから、中学校の時の思い出まあ精神的に虐待を ずっと受けてたっていうのがあったんでっていうので、それがなんていうかな、自分の中での限界点を迎えて不登校っていうか学校に行かないというような感じで、家に引き返したのを覚えています。
自分でなんとか自分の中で解決してくれるだろうっていうのを待ってたっていうのが正直な話ですね。こちらは何もなんていうんですか、話し合いをすることがなかったので、だから自分の中で解決してもらわないとこっちが何もできないんで。
こんばんは、宮西です。近くの同じ岩手市の紀の川病院のというところにおりながら、なかなかこういうふうに皆さんにお会いする機会がなかったんで、今日は良かったなと思ってます。で、現実に私のもとに1年間に新たに来る若者っていうのを100名を超えてます。それなのに日本の若者60万70万って厚生労働省のね推定値ですということですね。皆さんどうですか。6ヶ月以上こもれますか。自信のある人はありますか。引きこもって、これからまた表も一部そこにも入れてるんですけど、 2,3 年すると引きこもって、高校生が大学生が 2,3 年すると仲間たち、彼らから言わせればとか大人から言わせれば普通の若者たちが卒業して進学する、社会に就職する。そういう時に 2,3 年後に引きこもって 2,3 年後に焦りが生じてきます。彼らは一回引きこもって外に出ようとチャンスを求めてた若者が、外の周囲のみんなの目が非常に厳しく感じるようになるんですね。怠け者と見られてないか、そういう視線が自分に刺さってくる。だから人目を避けて最初の頃は夜間コンビニだけ行きます。
2日以上起きてました。でこれも今飲んでるブロチゾラムで、知恵の鳥やベンゾジアゼピン系で、睡眠導入剤で筋弛緩作用もある。体がリラックスするんですね。これルジオミールでちょっと何か忘れましたね。めちゃめちゃあるんですけど、これがコンスタンで4環系抗うつ剤だったと思います。なんか古いタイプの抗うつ剤で効果と副作用がちょっと大きい。勝手に死なれるよりは殺した方が僕が体調良くなったりするのかなとかは考えましたね。加害者意識がないから。主に母なんですけど、自分がしたことを忘れて全部父のせいっていうことに自分の中でしてしまってるんで、記憶がなさそう。弟がいるんですけど、弟は全く暴力を振るわれてなくて、僕だけ毎日のように殴られて首を絞められたりとか、階段から蹴り落とされたりとか、裸で外に放り出されたりとか。
引きこもって何もしないで衣食住足りてる。しかも今はネット社会になりましたんで、ネットである程度安心感、ゲームを一緒にしてる、世界とつながってるとなると、それがあっという間に2年3年10年経って40になって、あっと思ってた時に親が高齢化してしまう。親がもう定年になり職を失い、 親が病気になっていく時にホープレスになって不幸な結果を日本が生んだんですね、一時。それが一番の長期化という課題。
これちょっと適当に欲しい人食べながら討論も回してくれる？
見ていいんですか？僕の葉っぱつけるのちょっと新しいな。取り立て感すごい。これ見とくわ。この青いのあげるよ。絶対やばい。青いのあげる。絶対美味しい。で意外と中身が甘いんやって。こっちの方が美味しそうに見えるけど、このちょっと見たい。
面白いですよね。
大人の視点を持たれてるなって実は僕もそうなんですけど、社会人面白いですよね。
悶々とした日々っていうのだと思うんだけど、その経験もしよかったらどのぐらいで外へ出たいなと思ったとか、もうそろそろ出ようかなと思ったとか経験があったら、まだ自己紹介よかったら自己紹介
親が片方おられて、そういうそういう親も定年になってきたんで、もうそろそろちゃんと働かないと厳しいかなってなってきた。
安田君は何歳の時にごめん聞いて、もしよかったらそういうもう出てやろう、親がちょっと弱くなったんでとか。
35、6ぐらいかな。
35、6ぐらいか。そのぐらいゆっくりできたことは安田君の今のにとってよかった。
悪くはない。
悪くはなかった。どう長く家でいてて。
最高ですよ。最高ですよ。
謳歌してますね。
自分のやりたいことだけやってますから、今の状態に満足していますよ。親が住むことを許可してくれていて、時々なんかこうお土産を買ってくるだけで許されてるし、自分の好きなゲームしてるし、パソコンあるし、いつでも茶を飲めるし、最高の環境かなみたいな。
これはやめられない。
やめられますね。ゆえに次のステージが全然見えませんね。
学校の息子が中学の時の学校の先生にも宮西先生の存在を聞いてたり、精神科の先生にも聞いてたりで、一回相談はもう一昨年息子が引きこもって半年ぐらいの時に最初1回目来させてもらって、ちょっとなんか最近よくカレンダー見てぼーっとしてるんですよ。でもやっぱりもう2年引きこもってるとか自分で
ものすごく苦しいと思うんですよ。一日一日がカレンダーでね経っていくっていうのが、自分がね本当に死に追いやられるような気持ちだと思うんです。残された時間がもうないんだっていうような切迫感にね、やっぱりそれは早く具体的な方法で別に高校行かなく通信制のね行かなくても。
もう昼夜逆転してるんで、お昼過ぎぐらい、12時過ぎか1時ぐらいに起きて、朝ごはんというかお昼ごはんというかそれを食べて、前はもうほんま食べてくるのも食べにも降りてこなかったんで、いちいち運んで、最初の頃は何時に起きて何時に寝てるのかの分からなくって、起きたか見に行ってご飯運んでたんですけど、もう何ヶ月かしたら育て方がまずかったのかとか、いろいろ本当に悩みましたけど、わからないですね、それは。結構自分を責めたんで最初は。だから親の責任なのか、その子の性質なのか、環境、いろんなことが重なってかなっていう感じで、
私も裁判で関与して裁判官に訴えたことがあるんですけど、その若者というのは20 23で引きこもりを開始したと思います。経ってしまって30何歳になった時にお父さんが交通事故で寝たきりになりました。でその後お母さんが介護に疲れて寝込んでしまいました。それでお父さんお母さん唯一生活を支えてくれた。彼は何もしたことがないです。料理したこともない、食事をしたこともない。ここでは料理教室を教えてるんですけど、男たちに。そうなった時に全くなすすべを若者は失ったんですね。何をしていいかわからない。病気で倒れたお母さんを目の前にして、これはもうホープレスである。希望を失った状態で、こんな親をそのままにしておけないから殺して自分も死ぬのが最善の方法である。そういう事件が数多くというか日本で出てきて、それが問題になりました。
ほんまにアンケート何個取るんかとか。はい。佐川急便。取りますわ。チラシをやりながら。
真ん中に置かせていただいていいですか。
お披露目会を。
これ谷さんが開けると絵になる。
谷が開けると絵になる。ハサミ。
カッター。ハサミ。開封の字。カッターの方が。よし。ポンポンが。おお。めっちゃ。
リアクションしてない。
実はですね、引きこもってる人たちが出るようになってからまたどっか探しながら行くでしょう。行った時に一箇所でないんですね。そこで会わない人が多いんですよ。1回目に行ってすぐここはいいとこだって入れるとこもあるんですけど、ここはいけないっていうとこが多いので、支援をもっと豊かにできる方法があるんじゃないかということを具体的に見つけようというので、近畿交流会っていうのを作ろうと決めたんですね。
引きこもり歴としては3年前に出てきて、それまで2年ぐらいお家でこもってました。
8年ぐらいやって、それから出てきたのが3年前ぐらい。これ3年間学校に通ってなかったんです。大学でまた引きこもりで、それが3年ぐらい。すごいな。めっちゃいいこのチラシ。初めて。
やった。
ありがたい。
ありがとうございます。
私に上田さんから電話かけていい誰かとこっちとの立ち上げの方じゃなくて、前の方でも
ありがとうございます。
っていうか、そういう話がなかなかちょっと残り少ないから聞かれると。
もともと引きこもってらっしゃって、どういうきっかけでこういうなんていうんですか、その支援機関とかに参加するようになったんですか。
U 字曲線をね描いたとしたら、言ったらしんどいなーって思って落ちていく時があって、で言ったら引きこもりスイッチ、引きこもりますかどうですかのスイッチをポンって押したわけよね。言うたら俺はほんまにだから自宅にこもるっていうことを決めて、でそっからやっぱり一部停滞してた時もあるんやけど、自分で何とかしようと思って引き線とかに通い出して、言ったら上がる方の曲線にいたわけやんか。でその中でもやっぱりその曲線の中でもね、そのかなりスモールステップっていうか段階を踏んできたんやんか、自分の中で。その支援してあげるからっていう関係でつながるんじゃなくて、自分たちで何とかしようやって肩組んでやっていくような感じかな。自分がない自己がないっていうような育てられ方をしてたから、育て方が分からへんくてどう関わったらいいのかが分からへんから、その自分の、母もだからその自分が何かね、その思う通りに動かしたいような、ことをよくしてて、僕のイメージの中では、小学校の頃とかはずっと怒ってるようなイメージまで、その指吸いっていうのが収まらへんかったし、小5まで自分の中でそういうのがストレスになってたんだろうっていうのもあって、夜尿症が止まらなかったです。 ああ、そうそうそう、祖母がだから隣の家の子とか近くにいる近所の同級生の子とかが夜遅くまで電気をつけてると「俺はこの子勉強してるんやからあんたも勉強しいや」っていうような形で僕それが原因かもしれないですけど、自分の中では多分愛情が足りてなかったんでしょうね、小3の頃。そう愛されてるなと思った出来事がない、感じた出来事がないっていうかな、あんまりやで、特にちっちゃい時。
もう入るんでええかな。
あ、全然大丈夫です。
じゃあ失礼。生きてるって書いてある。もうやってんの？
やってますよ。
これがそうか。
そうですね。そうですね。ちょうどこの発売に合わせてって言われたんで、
だいぶ
あんまりできてないですけど。
ほんま。
起きてる時間
ようこの周辺
寮とかにね。
押しかけて下へ歩いてアパートで寒い思いしたこんなに入れてくれるのもやったらええけど
聞こえます？
お母さんが君を小さい頃に殴ったとか虐待したっていうことで、
親が死ねって言ったら死ねって言われたんですよ。言葉で殴られまくって言葉で言われました。首絞められたりして。だから僕はもう、一人の人間じゃなくて親の言いなりになるだけの人形ですよ。
その親の求めるものって何なの？君は割と優秀だったけど。
僕は社会的に成功することとしか感じてませんでしたね。そういうふうになる未来しか語
なかった。よく夢見るっていう。
最近見なくなったって言って一時期見てたって言って。
まあ普通熟睡できないと、不安感が強いと悪夢を見るんだけど、夢に現れてくるお母さんの恐ろしい顔とか
たまに夢見ますよ。まだ一瞬で覚醒するかもしれないです。
お父さんは出現しない？
僕の中で父はもう反省してるように見えるんで。
存在っていうか反省してる。
そうですね。贖罪はしてるかわかんないですけど反省はしてるように見えるんで。あの人はもう記憶抜け落ちてるようですよ。僕にしたことを何も認めないんです。
認めたくないっていう。
本気で覚えてなさそうな素振りをしますね。
食欲は？
食欲で外出ですか？
後ろおいしいもの食べに。
僕は全くないですかね。
あかんか。ラーメンとカレーどっち好き？
ラーメンですかね。
行こうか。今日はこれから
行きますか。
行こうか外行こうか。もうええやろ外へちょっとお腹空いたからラーメン食べに行こうか。やはりいろいろ問題があるんですけど、日本特有の社会病理現象だと思うんですけど、青年期の心の病理現象の一つだと思います。普通になりたいだけども出ていけないと、社会で現実的に引きこもってて外一歩出る時に出れないのは、いい若者がこんな時間にうろうろして怠け者やないかという恥ずかしさやと思います。なんとか普通になりたい、それがなければ解決できないっていうことで、それで安住してはない、苦しんでます。